Hello, and welcome back to my channel. Imagine this, a son returning home after years of estrangement, not to fanfare, not to ceremony, but to whispers of uncertainty, tension, and hope. Prince Harry has landed back in the United Kingdom, on a day heavy with memory, the third anniversary of Queen Elizabeth II's death. And tonight, the world is holding its breath. Will there be a meeting, a quiet reconciliation between Harry and his father, King Charles? Or will this visit simply deepen the rift that has shaken the very foundations of the monarchy? If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss our deep dives into stories that shape not just the headlines, but history itself. Now, let's begin. Picture the scene. The air is cool, London is restless, and the arrival of one man has reignited the embers of one of the most painful and public family feuds of our time. Prince Harry, once the beloved spare, the smiling younger brother who carried the sparkle of Diana's eyes, now walks back into a land where every step is measured, every glance scrutinized, every word weighed against years of bitterness and betrayal. But why is this return so charged? Why now? To understand that, we must rewind. Since 2020, when Harry and Meghan shocked the world by stepping away from royal duties, the British monarchy has been thrust into a storm unlike any in modern memory. What followed wasn't silence or reconciliation. Instead, it was a cascade of revelations, accusations, and deeply personal wounds laid bare for the world to consume. There was the Oprah interview in 2021, watched by millions across the globe, where Harry and Meghan alleged racism, neglect, and a chilling lack of compassion within the institution. Then came their Netflix series, a 6-part chronicle of life behind palace walls, painted not with gold but with shadows. And finally, Harry's memoir, Spare, in 2023, which sold millions of copies and cracked open the vault of royal secrets with the force of a hammer. From drug confessions to intimate sibling rivalries, Harry spared almost nothing. But what did that mean for his relationships back home? Well, it meant devastation. According to those close to the palace, William, once Harry's closest confidant, drew a hard line. The brothers, who once stood shoulder to shoulder at their mother's funeral, bonded by grief no one else could fully comprehend, became estranged to the point of silence. Sources whisper that William could no longer trust Harry, accusing him of choosing public exposure over private reconciliation. Every time there's a new project, a new contract, one insider said, the family finds itself dragged back into the headlines. And William's position seemed clear. Until trust is rebuilt, there would be no reunion. Not now, perhaps not ever. So what about King Charles? Unlike William, Charles's approach has been quieter, less defined by outright refusal. Yes, he has been wounded by Harry's words, especially the criticisms leveled at Queen Camilla, the woman who has stood beside him for decades. But Charles is also a father, and a father battling time and illness. With reports that he continues treatment for a serious condition, his priorities appear to be shifting. Rebuilding bridges, even fragile ones, might matter now more than ever. And this is where the tension tightens like a rope. Charles is reportedly willing to see Harry during this rare visit, marking their first face-to-face in almost 2 years. Imagine that for a moment. 20 months of silence, distance, and anger, broken perhaps by a simple conversation between father and son. But what will that conversation be? This is where speculation transforms into suspense. Some say it will be short, pragmatic, almost ceremonial. Others insist that it could be the beginning of something larger, a fragile first step toward reconciliation. And yet, with William firmly out of the picture, refusing to engage, one must wonder, how much can be healed if the brothers remain locked in their Cold War? Think about it. Sibling rivalries are as old as history itself. From Cain and Abel to the sons of monarchs past, brotherly conflicts have altered the course of kingdoms. But in the case of Harry and William, the stakes are not just personal, they are institutional. Their fractured bond isn't merely a family matter. It's a symbol of division within the House of Windsor, a house that has weathered abdications, scandals, and wars, but now finds itself fractured by its own bloodline. The public, of course, watches with fascination. Every detail. Harry's arrival without Meghan, the possibility of meetings with cousins like Eugenie or Beatrice, The shadowy question of whether cameras will catch a single telling moment feeds a hunger for answers. Will forgiveness come? Will time soften hardened hearts? Or are we witnessing the slow, irreversible unraveling of one of the most famous families in the world? Former BBC correspondent Jenny Bond has her doubts. She suggests Harry might seek out cousins, but not William, not Catherine. The rift remains too deep, she says, and William has far too much going on to worry about the Harry problem. Those words, the Harry problem, echo like a cold reminder that in royal circles, even blood can be reduced to an inconvenience. But isn't that the tragedy of it all? That a family defined by its public image is privately fractured, unable to sit in a room together without history crashing down around them? Still, there are glimmers of hope. A U.S. source close to the Sussexes insists that this trip is about beginnings, not endings. That despite everything Netflix, Oprah spare, there's a determination to make this meeting with Charles happen. Not with grand gestures, not with cameras flashing, but in the quiet dignity of father and son, face to face, words spoken softly rather than through headlines. And yet, the question remains, will that be enough? We must remember, reconciliation is not built in a day. Trust cannot be summoned by duty alone. For Harry and Charles, this might be the first crack of light after years of shadow. But with William standing firm, perhaps even resentful, the family's future remains caught in uncertainty. Will the monarchy endure this fracture as it has endured so many before? Or will this rift, played out so publicly, become its greatest wound yet? As Harry moves through this visit, every choice he makes, who he sees, what he says, where he goes, will be interpreted as a clue. Each silence will be as loud as words. And when he departs again, back to the life he has built across the Atlantic, one question will linger in the halls of Buckingham Palace and beyond. Has a bridge truly been built, or has the chasm only widened? History has always whispered warnings about brothers divided. Think back to 1936, when King Edward VIII chose love over crown, leaving his younger brother, George VI, to shoulder the monarchy he never expected to bear. That decision altered the course of British history forever, setting in motion the chain that led to Queen Elizabeth II's remarkable reign. And now, in the 21st century, another royal brotherhood teeters on the edge of collapse, one that could shape not just the monarchy's image, but survival. Prince William and Prince Harry were once inseparable, bonded by shared trauma after the death of their mother, Diana. We all remember those haunting images. Two boys walking behind their mother's coffin, stoic faces masking unspeakable grief. They were cast then as the future of the monarchy, William the heir, Harry the spare, but together unbreakable. Yet, as time has proven, grief can bind, but it can also fracture. And in this case, the fracture has widened into a canyon. William is said to feel betrayed, not merely by Harry's decision to step back, but by his decision to step forward into the spotlight of global media, using private pain as currency. From Oprah's confessions to Netflix's cameras, William sees each revelation as a dagger, each contract as proof that his brother has chosen publicity over loyalty. Trust, palace insiders murmur, is the casualty. Without trust, there is no brotherhood, no reconciliation, only silence. But Harry tells a different story. In his words, his revelations were not betrayal, but survival, a way of protecting his wife, his children, and himself from an institution he believes failed him in his most vulnerable moments. To him, speaking out was not a choice, it was a lifeline, and therein lies a tragedy. Two brothers, both convinced of their truth, yet trapped in narratives that cannot coexist. Now, enter King Charles, a man caught between duty and blood. To the world, he is the sovereign, the face of a 1,000-year-old institution. But to Harry, he is simply Pa, and in his advancing years, with illness pressing upon him, Charles must decide, will he die with this wound unhealed, or will he risk the fragile fabric of reconciliation to see his son once more, face to face? Imagine the scene. Father and son in a private room, no cameras, no aides, just words exchanged after nearly 2 years apart. What do you say in that moment? Do you begin with the pain, or do you begin with the love? Do you demand apologies, or do you offer forgiveness? No one knows exactly what will pass between them. But the fact that this meeting is even being considered tells us something profound. That despite everything, the door is not yet closed. And yet, hovering above this fragile attempt is William's absence, his refusal to engage. It begs a question. Can a family truly heal if one of its pillars refuses to stand in the same room? Or will reconciliation between Harry and Charles only sharpen the silence between Harry and William? History again offers eerie parallels. Consider King George VI and his brother Edward after the abdication. They never reconciled. They remained estranged until George's death, their relationship forever frozen by choices that neither could undo. Could William and Harry be destined for the same fate? Two brothers, once bonded by destiny, forever divided by it? But unlike those kings of old, William and Harry's story is not confined to palace walls. It plays out before a global audience. Every word Harry utters, every silence William maintains, every gesture Charles makes, it is dissected, debated, consumed. And that public stage magnifies the wounds. Where once disputes could be private, today they are magnified into global spectacles, making reconciliation harder with every headline. Still, there are those who cling to hope. Some suggest Harry's willingness to return to the UK, even without Meghan, is itself a gesture, a signal that beneath the anger lies a desire for reconnection. Others believe Charles's openness to meet reflects not just fatherly love, but an understanding that the monarchy cannot withstand endless fracture. After all, what is monarchy if not a symbol of unity? If the family itself is divided, what message does it send to the world it seeks to represent? But then, ask yourself, is reconciliation even possible? Can words unsaid for years be spoken in a single meeting? Or will silence, once broken, only unleash more bitterness? These are questions no crown, no throne, no institution can answer. They are questions only a family, broken, fragile, human, can face. And while this family carries titles and palaces, at its core it is still a family like any other, weighed down by the same hurts, the same betrayals, the same yearning for love. That is why the story grips us so deeply. It is not just about royalty. It is about brothers who no longer speak, a father who fears time is slipping away, an eternal question. Can love survive pride, pain, and history? So as Harry walks once more through British soil, the air is thick with possibility. Perhaps he will see his father. Perhaps he will not. Perhaps William will remain silent. Perhaps he will not. But in either case, the echoes will ripple far beyond palace gates. For this is not just a personal drama. It is a test of whether one of the most famous families on earth can survive its own fractures. And when Harry leaves again, returning across the Atlantic, the world will ask, what has changed? Did reconciliation begin in quiet whispers behind palace doors? Or did the silence grow louder, confirming that some wounds never heal? Maybe, just maybe, in the years to come, William and Harry will find their way back, guided by the memory of their mother, the woman who once told friends she hoped her boys would always be each other's best friends. Or maybe, like so many royal siblings before them, history will record their estrangement as yet another scar in the long story of the crown. And so, we are left with a haunting thought. When the future of a monarchy collides with the fragile heart of a family, which will win? Duty or love? What do you think? Is reconciliation possible, or has too much been said and done? Share your thoughts in the comments, because this is not just a royal story. It is a human story. And if you've stayed with me to the end, thank you. Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden stories behind power, history, and family. Until next time, remember, history is not just what is written in books. It is unfolding right before our eyes.